Hey yo, what's good? It's your boy Mixtape Moth, and today I'm gonna hit y'all with a review of the new Snoop Dogg album entitled Bacc on Death Row. Let's get to it. Alright, so Snoop, he's a rap legend, hip hop icon who has one of the smoothest flows and distinct voices in hip hop. There isn't really much I can say that hasn't already been said. I mean, the man was sea walking at the Super Bowl. Now, within the past year or so, Snoop has really made some power moves in the industry. At the end of 2021, he became the executive creative strategy consultant at Def Jam, and most recently, he acquired the rights to the historic Death Row Records. He is now the owner of that infamous label, which was responsible for essential 90s classic albums like The Chronic, Doggy Style, Dog Food, All Eyes on Me, the Above the Rim soundtrack, and the Murder Was the Case soundtrack. And last year, he dropped From the Streets to the Suites. It was an album that received some praise, and I viewed it to be his most focused project in years. But that brings us to this brand new album, Bacc on Death Row, which serves as his 19th full-length project. It contains 18 tracks and lasts approximately 53 minutes. In terms of the production, Snoop enlists Bacc, Battlecat, DJ Green Lantern, Don Cannon, Hit-Boy, Hi-Tech, Hollis, Knots, Superfly, and Trevor Lawrence Jr. But with that being said, let me go ahead and hit y'all with this track-by-track breakdown. The opener, Still Smoking, is a hard-hitting intro drenched in G-Funk nostalgia. The beat from Battlecat samples the intro off The Chronic, which is fitting considering, he's back on death row. It's just one verse where Snoop reminds us that he's back to restore the feeling. He mentions Harry-O is finally free and they have some unfinished business to attend to. Yeah, as a whole, I couldn't think of a greater way to set this off. Track 2, Gunsmoke, could be looked at as a second intro also. The beat from Hi-Tech is bouncy and G-Funk inspired with a slight modern twist. Here, Snoop delivers another punchy verse filled with clever wordplay. I wish it was a bit longer though, as I feel he's just warming up. Things then mellow out with the Battlecat produced Coming Back, and it has all the ingredients of a cookout anthem. It's a cool, carefree, and breezy track that you can't really go wrong with. My only issue is that I wish it came a little later in the track list, especially after the buildup of a track like Gunsmoke, where I wanted to hear a little more rapping than melody, but I might be nitpicking. Track 4, Sandwich Bag, brings the 70s soul vibes into effect, and this has a funky and laid back sample from Bacc that you can envision Snoop driving to as he's collecting his bread. He's kicking some game in a slow flow, reminding us of the drama that comes with the territory of success. He's paid the cost to be the boss. Now, track 5, Conflicted, is the main standout off the project by far. Here we get an eerie and off-kilter G-Funk beat from Hit-Boy and a hook from Nas. And I feel Hit-Boy came as close to any producer on this project to really tap into that vintage death row sound. As much as I had wished Nas would have had a verse, Snoop was able to kill it with this timeless flow. He even brought back his higher pitched vocal intonations from the early 90s. And this record is about East and West Coast unity as Snoop and Nas pay homage to some of the most thorough OGs on the East and the West Coast, Live Wires Connect. Snoop also made it a point to shout out some of his own hip hop influences like Slick Rick and Special Ed. Yeah, this was easily the best song on the album. The following track, Daddy, is stylistically different from the preceding songs in that it has more of a contemporary instrumental. It's a Hit-Boy banger with a great bass line and hypnotic vocal harmony, and I was getting somewhat of a Kanye Watch the Throne vibe from the production. While I didn't necessarily love the auto-tune hook from Emo Trap, I did enjoy Snoop's flow and the up-tempo Hit-Boy production. Then on Doggy Stylin', Snoop goes back into G-Funk territory with a darker beat from Superfly that has these ghostly choir chants. It is Snoop in his element talking about crip walking and keeping it gangsta everywhere that he goes. I would have loved an East Siders feature here, but yeah, this was a dope track for the hood. What follows is Crip Your Enthusiasm, which is a lighthearted Crip anthem and probably the most tame Crip song ever to date, and it has the sample flip of the Curb Your Enthusiasm theme music. So while I feel the sentiment is entertaining and it's a fun little detour, I also think it sticks out like a sore thumb. I'm sure there will be folks who like this, but it was a little too cheerful and lighthearted for my taste. In all honesty, I don't know. I think it also has something to do with the fact that the memes with the music over the years have been run into the ground. So the Curb theme music kind of lost its appeal for me. Immediately after is the Perseverance anthem, Gotta Keep Pushing, featuring T.I. and Sleepy Brown. And this has a sultry and soulful sound that feels a bit Dungeon Family inspired, but here we get some introspection from Snoop and T.I., who reflect on growing up in poverty but overcoming the setbacks. Now, it is T.I. who I feel steals the show with his sharp and honest lyricism and a bit of social commentary. He states, "Trap music say we geniuses, politics say we crazy. Man, I was selling yay when Brenda had a baby, when nothing but hip hop could come and save me." I do have this as one of the highlights. Track 10, The House I Built, has an ethereal and dreamlike beat from Hit Boy with crisp drums and scratching. On this one, Snoop chronicles his rise from drug dealer to CEO, and while he feels his level up and accolades have been impressive, he still wants to own his Doggy Styles masters, so that has inspired him to go so hard. But yeah, it's another strong track with immaculate production from Hit Boy. Right after is Outside the Box. Now, the selling point here is the unreleased hook from Nate Dogg, but the Battle Cat beat doesn't disappoint either. It is hard to miss with this combination. Sonically, it feels like it could have been a part of The Last Meal or Blue Carpet Treatment. What comes next is Jersey in the Rafters featuring The Game. This has a menacing keyboard beat from Hit Boy that feels more boom bap than G-Funk. This one finds Snoop actually giving himself his flowers as he recognizes that his name is firmly cemented with the greats. That's why they will retire his jersey. I felt the Game verse was pretty solid, so overall it was a decent track. The following, Pop Pop featuring The Baby, has a soulful but pop style instrumental that surprisingly works. And while The Baby's crooning was a bit watered down and not my cup of tea, I didn't find this to be awful. I think it was, though, the vocal sample and the melodic groove that saved it from being whack. Track 14 is Catch a Vibe featuring Hey Dion. This has a wavy and sun-drenched beat that is ideal for cruising the Cali streets. The vibe does match the title, but I don't view this as an essential track. Just like the following, In the Air, which has a cool David Ruffin sample and a gritty instrumental from Knots, but I thought the Uncle Murder feature, while decent, seemed a bit random. It's a cool enough track, but I just couldn't understand how Uncle Murder ties into the scope of the new Death Row. Track 16, We Don't Gotta Worry No More, has a smooth trap soul instrumental from Don Cannon. The beat is melodic and pretty, but there's nothing striking enough about the track to make me want to come back. And the Wiz feature is barely recognizable. I only knew he was featured after reading the track list. So the second to last track, Get This D, is pretty cringeworthy, while the Lil Duval hook is actually catchy. And I suppose the 80s dance floor style beat has a nice bop to it, but I can't see myself desiring to hear this one again. Yeah, sure, it's carefree and groovy Snoop, but it didn't do much for me. The project then wraps up with Snoopy Don't Go. This finds Snoop channeling his inner Bootsy Collins over a melancholy and funk-laced groove. Now the macking and pimping aesthetic is in full effect here. It's very player and a cool way to close out this project. Overall, I give this effort a rating of a strong 3.5 mics, even though I don't think it's as consistent as From the Streets to the Suites. It's a dope album with some high highs. I would say that Hit Boy provided the most impressive production on the project, while his entrusted producers like Battle Cat and Superfly didn't disappoint. I feel the album started out strong, but ended up losing a little bit of steam about 3/4 of the way through. Now, it's not that the remaining few tracks sucked. It's just that I didn't find them to be as overly memorable. But the thing is, with Snoop, he tends to appeal to a broader audience, so you can expect some filler that will accompany his projects. For the most part, he does a good job of recapturing that nostalgic death row sound, and it's a fun listen overall, but there were some tracks towards the end that weren't as focused. So yeah, at the end of the day, it is a dope project from Snoop that does have me curious as to what new artists will emerge from the new death row and what his sound for the label will be like moving forward. My favorite tracks include Still Smokin', Gunsmoke, Sandwich Bag, Conflicted, Doggy Style and Gotta Keep Pushin', House I Built, Outside the Box, and Snoopy Don't Go. Let me know what you thought about this album in the comment section below. It's your boy Mixtape Moth. I'm signing out, but be sure to hit that like button and please subscribe. As always, it's peace and blessings. Snoop, back on Death Row 1.